World Truck Series returns to familiar turf. We're heading back to the Midwest. Last time we raced in Gateway was 2010.
Gateway International Raceway. This is a racetrack that is unique. It doesn't fit the mold of normal tracks that we go to.
Be ready. Green flag, green flag.
It's a very challenging racetrack, even though it's 1.25 miles in length and considered a super speedway. The race is just like a short track.
What will the decisions be tonight? Are you going to try to protect your points? Or are you going to race up in the middle of a couple of guys and risk it all? You have decisions to make at this racetrack. You go flying down into those turns running 150 or 60 miles an hour. You got a guy right on your tailgate. You decide you're going to take that corner away from him. He might not decide he's going to give it to you.
Who will win under the arch?
Well, it's been 4 years since we've been here, and a lot of things have stayed the same, and quite a few things have changed, including the name of this racetrack. It's Gateway Motorsports Park, and we're getting ready for the Driving for Lineman 200. Tonight, Matt Crafton will try to do something he's never done before in his 323 Truck Series starts, and that is to win back-to-back races. The defending series champ starts 11th. Another driver looking for his first is Gray Golding, and that's his first win he's trying to get tonight. He'll start in the 4th spot this evening. Eric Jones has won in the Truck Series before. As a matter of fact, he's the youngest winner ever in the Camping World Truck Series. Tonight, he will start in row 2. 16-year-old Cole Custer became the youngest pole winner ever when he broke the track record earlier today. And the task in front of him is to steal the youngest winner ever title away from the aforementioned Eric Jones. 160 laps, 200 miles in front of these drivers. As we get ready for the Driving for Lineman 200, let's go trackside for our pre-race ceremonies.
Please remain standing as we'll be joined by Fox Sports 1 for the live remainder of our opening ceremonies. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask you to direct your attention to the Victory Lane stage as the Scott Air Force Base Honor Guard presents our nation's colors. Also, as our nation celebrates Flag Day, please direct your attention to the Turn 4 side of Victory Lane as members of the American line industry display the American flag. Please remain standing as Lonnie Klaus from Motor Racing Outreach offers tonight's invocation.
Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity that you've given to us tonight to be a part of this event here at Gateway Motorsports Park. Lord, we remember the fallen linemen, our servicemen and women that are serving abroad and at home. And Lord, we commit this event to you. May you be honored and glorified, and we'll give you the thanks in Christ's name. Amen.
Joining us to perform our national anthem, please welcome, representing fallenlinemen.org, Anna Smith.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet
Great crowd on hand. A lot of youth up front in this race. We got to keep our eye on them at the start. And welcome back to Gateway Motorsports Park. We're just a bit east of the Gateway Arch there in St. Louis, Missouri. And a great crowd on hand for tonight's race. We've got to open up the clipboard. Things we're going to watch for. And the driving for lineman 200, track position has to be key. This racetrack has been described as a short track with very high speeds. And will experience pay off at a racetrack that we haven't been to for 4 years? Very few have experience on this 1.25 miles. Hello, everyone. Rick Allen, Phil Parsons, Michael Waltrip with you once again. Track position, it always seems to be very key in every racetrack we go to, but when we come back here to Gateway Motorsports Park, it seems more pivotal.
It's just really tough to pass, Rick. In fact, when you go down in turn 1 and 2, it's hard to get your truck to turn when it's by itself, let alone try to whip it under somebody. And so what these guys will have to resort to is what we've seen in the past. We're going to have to crowd a little bit. As you see coming off turn 2 there, crowding going on that turned into a truck being up on his side. And when you get down into the corner, sometimes you're going to push. And when you're back in the pack, you get desperate and try to make moves, and sometimes those moves don't work. So we see racers all the time getting very aggressive here at Gateway because of the frustration, because of trying to get a pass done. You can't quite get there, and look, you crowd and you're going to get turned. We see this repeatedly, and with all the youth up front and no experience near the front, we could see a lot of that when the race starts tonight.
You mentioned the word youth, and we've talked about needing experience here. It's been 4 years since we've raced here, Phil.
Yeah, but when we came here, I said the guys with the experience are going to have the advantage. Guys like Matt Kraft and Johnny Sauter, the Thor Sport teammates, I knew they would be good here. And then throw in Ron Hornaday, who's the only guy in the field that has won here. But none of those guys qualify in the top 10. We have a bunch of youngsters. We have Eric Jones, the 51 truck. He won Phoenix. We talked about that. Eric Jones is going to be really good here. Turns 3 and 4 here, very much like Phoenix. And Cole Custer, that 16-year-old on the pole, the youngest pole sitter ever in a National Touring Series. He's also very, very good. So I'll tell you right now, the youth are looking pretty good.
Please welcome tonight's Grand Marshal, the Senate Majority Leader for Illinois State Senate, representing the 57th District of Illinois, Senator James A. Claiborne, Jr.
Thank you. We first want to thank Curtis Francois for his vision of opening this track again. And more importantly, we want to thank NASCAR for bringing this wonderful event back to the Metro East. Thank you. Drivers, start your engines.
We're just minutes away from the green flag flying in the air at Gateway Motorsports Park. 16-year-olds bringing the field to the green.
Oh, hey, Jim. It's my sister, Lisa.
So hot. Woo!
That is hot.
Made with real cheese and premium cuts of meat.
Hot Pockets.
And welcome back as the sun begins to set on the Gateway to the west. The trucks are fired up and ready to roll out onto this 1.25 mile racetrack. The honorary pace car driver for tonight is Chief Master Sergeant Wesley A. Mathias of Scott Air Force Base. That Air Force Base just 20 miles away in Illinois. So we welcome Master Sergeant Wesley A. Mathias. I'm sure he'll do a great job tonight. Want to take a look at the particulars of this track in our Camping World track description.
I would say challenging would sum up what you see there, Rick, because of the distinct difference in the two ends. They're going to carry the most speed they have down into turn 1, and that's the tightest turn. It has more banking, but it's a tighter radius. Difficult turn to handle.
Here's our Camping World race analysis.
See 160 laps, 200 miles. We estimate about 2 pit stops. These guys can go about 60 to 65 laps on the full fuel load.
We talked about that track position. You could see strategy from pit road determine how a guy might get that track position.
And the trucks begin to roll off of pit road onto the access road, which will take them onto the back stretch. We go through our Golden Corral Starting lineup, Cole Custer and Darrell Wallace Jr. making up row number 1. Cole Custer set the track record earlier. He is the youngest pole winner ever.
How about row number 2, Rick, Eric Jones, Greg Gaulding. Let's see if we can talk to Greg Gaulding. Hey, Greg Gaulding, Phil Parsons up in the Fox booth. You got a copy?
Sir, I got you, Phil.
Great qualifying effort, buddy, in that 4th spot. You didn't get any practice yesterday. You were down in Florida running a K&N race. How's that truck?
I think we got a great Krispy Kreme Chevrolet. Yeah, I love this track already. Not having very much experience and missing some practice. Thanks to Justin Lawson for getting me dialed in, ready for a fun race.
All right, buddy, be careful and have a good one.
You appreciate it.
Phil, you threw out the word experience. Here's a kid who's 16 years old. How does he come into this and be at all competitive?
Yeah, well, we've seen the youth, they'll be so good at this racetrack here and so good this year, really. He came here and tested, so that's going to be invaluable for him. As he mentioned, he had a great setup with Justin Lofton practicing his truck yesterday, and he jumped in that thing and was fast today.
I think 18-year-old Eric Jones is all the inspiration you need. I mean, he went to Phoenix and beat the best in the truck series, winning that race out there. Did an amazing job in a tight battle late in the going with Ross Chastain to grab that victory. Eric Jones can win. I guarantee you these kids that are up there with him think they can win too.
Well, there's a lot of trucks out there that think they can get to victory lane tonight. We're going to ride along with a few of them.
Yeah, let's ride along with that 31 truck of Ben Kennedy. He's had 3 top 10s this year. He will start his Turner Scott Motorsports Chevy from the 17th spot.
Let's hop on board with Johnny Sauter. He's starting in the 13th position in his Smoky Mountain Herbal Snuff Toyota from Thor Sports. He's been in the top 5 of the last 6 races. Look at this view. We're going to get to see what Johnny Sauter sees, and if he runs into anybody, we're going to be right here to report it.
John Hunter Nemechek finished 6th his last time out at Dover, and he will start his MD Anderson Cancer Center Toyota from the 12th spot.
Timothy Peters, number 17, Red Horse Toyota. He's starting 10th. He's a point leader headed to Texas, had a big wreck. Now he's 5th in the points. Can he rebound here at Gateway?
Those are questions we're going to have to answer. There's a lot of storylines still to be talked about, and for more of those, let's go trackside to Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. There's lots of ways to win this race. Ted Musgrave led 158 of 160. David Starr led only 1. But no driver has ever gotten their first career win here at Gateway. And tonight, I certainly think that could change. We've talked about the young kids who are up front. Well, not a lot of experience, but look at these great starting spots for these guys. We heard about Cole Custer on the pole. If he were to win tonight at 16 years, 4 months, and 22 days, he'd be our youngest winner ever. I think anybody on this list has a good shot tonight. I think the 77 might just be my favorite. Hermie Sadler, who you watching?
Well, Ray, if one of those rookies or young guns is going to get to victory lane, they've got to get past the guy, the only driver in the race tonight that's won a truck race at this racetrack. It's Ron Hornaday. He won here several years ago, but the issue with Hornaday, he's on a losing streak. 54 races since he's been to victory lane. If he's going to get career victory number 52, he'll have to do it from the 16th starting spot.
He has experience. No one's ever won this race from further back than 14th. How about the guys that are the leaders at this racetrack? Terry Cook, Rick Crawford, Dennis Setzer. All names that are synonymous with the series.
A couple of wins for Ted Musgrave here in the truck series. Ted was so good at this racetrack. All the flat tracks, Ted was good at Milwaukee as well.
This type of track, even though Hornaday's starting back in 16th position, this is right in his wheelhouse. Talked to Ron down in the garage area. He said, my truck isn't really fast on the get-go, but it hangs in there for me. So you watch Ron Hornaday on these restarts and diving into these corners. He'll gain some positions and probably be around at the end to contend.
What a great crowd on hand tonight. Perfect weather to come out and watch racing. 160 laps, 200 miles. The youth of the series and the future of NASCAR right here in front of them.
And it's great to be back in St. Louis.
Field coming out of turn number 4, all behind 16-year-old Cole Custer. Green flag in the air. We're back underway at Gateway.
Bubba Wallace, that 54 truck is not going to give him this lead.
Now, Bubba's got the run there. He's going to lead him down into turn 3. Takes the lead away from Custer on the start.
Sweeping turns through 3 and 4. A little more of a sweeping turn through 3 and 4 compared to 1 and 2. And early on, Cole Custer slides back behind Darrell Wallace Jr. The battle now is for 3rd.
Yeah, you can see Gray Galding getting the advantage on Eric Jones down on the inside of 3, Rick. I think you really want to run on the bottom of 3 and 4 if you're going to be in the fast groove. Down in 1 and 2, it's a crapshoot. Whether you run up high or run low, I believe you can make time in either position, Rick.
But all the guys are saying it's really line sensitive down there. I was talking to some of the crew chiefs that if you miss your line a little bit down in 1 and 2, it'll cost you a couple tenths.
And they are in line now. One of the things you had mentioned earlier, Mikey, was track position. And Jeb Burton almost looked like he was off the gas there as Joey Coulter was able to close the gap in on him.
Well, that's the fun thing about 3 and 4. You can work your throttle. You can get it down early and start to use that apron to help you turn around that corner. Down here, there just isn't any way to really help your truck turn. If it doesn't want to turn right there in the center of the corner, you're in trouble.
And teammates there fighting for position. Armand Caroga in the 77, able to get by his teammate Timothy Peters in the 17. And we ride along with the 98 of Johnny Sauter, looking forward at his teammate.
Yeah, we had this bumper cam at Martinsville. It lasted most of the race. That was really good. Hopefully Johnny can keep it on here.
You heard Johnny Sauter in pre-race talking about how he was tight. It just wouldn't turn. I think that was pretty good evidence of it there. You saw.
Oh, and in the wall. The 63 of Justin Jennings.
Well, that yellow truck, John West-Townley, did a nice job avoiding that 63. John had to go to the back of the pack for the start because of unapproved adjustments.
That was hard contact into the outside wall for Justin Jennings. Driving that number 63 truck. He probably got some help. I noticed another truck was right behind him. He was running in the 19th position.
What's right side of your screen?
It's hard to tell. Maybe he just got
that other white truck maybe had made some contact with him.
He was trying to race under the black truck there just ahead. Oh, a little contact maybe got loose on the inside of the black truck as they raced off turn 4.
That's what it looked like. See if we can take a look from behind. Get another view of it. Already contact, possibly already. That's right. Mason Mingus that looked like 11 before you dig.
Looks like maybe Jennings was trying to get under Mingus, got a little bit loose, and wham, hard into the wall.
Very unfortunate for a team based right here in the Midwest. Midler Brothers fueling the 63, and now it's out. And welcome back to the Driving for Lineman 200 for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. It's our 7th race of the 2014 season, and under our first caution here at Gateway Motorsports Park. For the 63 of Justin Jennings, the 54 of Darrell Wallace Jr. just moments ago, chatting with his team.
Hey, Bubba, when you're rolling that thing into 1 here, you're easing it in there. Don't be afraid to leave your foot on the brake just a tick to the center, like another second, till it rotates. Then you'll be able to stomp it on exit. It isn't going to hurt. It ain't going to get too hot, you know.
That's just Jerry Baxter, his crew chief, giving him confidence. He can use those brakes more if he needs to. But that's how he needs to think to get that front end setting on that truck. Jerry's saying, don't be afraid to lean on the brakes.
The brakes are so good nowadays, too. It's amazing. You used to have to come to a hard braking racetrack and have to conserve from lap 1 on. They can use them as hard as they want to for the entire 160 laps.
Phil, are you surprised that Bubba's taking the inside? He won the race to turn 1 on the outside on the start of the race, and now he's on the inside.
I'm very surprised.
Green flag back in the air. Cole Custer on the outside. Darrell Wallace Jr. on the inside.
Got a good jump, though. He's got that truck out in front of Custer as they dive in. Can he keep it? Yes, he does.
Cole Custer trying to keep up his momentum, but he gets tucked in behind the 54 as they go down the backstretch.
So we've checked 2 boxes. Bubba's good on the bottom, and he's good on the top 2.
He may have to restart somewhere where he doesn't want to later on if he's not the leader in charge of it.
Now the battle is for 3rd. Gray Galding on the inside, and he's going to take 3rd away from Eric Jones. Jones slides back in behind him in 4th.
Good side-by-side battle behind them for 5th. That's Joey Coulter on the inside. Joey's had a couple good races in a row here, a couple top 10 finishes. He's on the inside of John Hunter Nemechek in that 8 truck.
John Hunter Nemechek trying to hold his track position in that higher line.
Look at Timothy Peters. He got squeezed up. He got on the outside of Jeb Burton, and Jeb drove him up the track, and Peters had to get out of the gas. He almost get into that outside wall.
You talk about getting squeezed at this racetrack. You run out of room.
That was a squeeze play right there.
Well, Timothy Struck's pretty good on the outside, down in 3 and 4.
He's pretty good 1 and 2. That's where he had that big run on the outside of Burton. I don't think Burton knew he was coming because Timothy was coming so fast.
Good run for Jeb Burton down the front stretch, trying to get just in front of that 77. And once again, up the racetrack now. This time it's Timothy Peters that has to get just in front of
Chase Pistone chased him up the hill, and Matt Crafton looked at that open door and decided he'd drive right in the middle of it.
And Chase Pistone just a couple laps ago got into the wall. Take a look, that higher line kisses the wall there.
Yeah, not too hard. Fortunately, we shouldn't hurt that truck, but he got a little bit of loose earlier.
And that thing just jumps out there, doesn't it, Phil? You know, he thought he had a solid line, and he just slipped a bit. Next thing he knows, truck's into the outside wall.
Here comes Armand Quiroga trying to take 7th away.
And we talked about Armand Quiroga. We heard Ray Dunlap say he might be his favorite. I like this truck, too. He's really good in practice. Very confident is Armand about getting to victory lane, and he's making some good progress early.
Matt Crafton, the 88 truck on his way up. He gets by the 17 of Peters. That moves Matt up into the 9th spot.
These are the trucks you really want to watch early in the going. You know, we know Darrell Wallace, Cole Custer, they started in the front there. If Matt Crafton can pass his way through this field, if Armand Quiroga can drive up through there, those are trucks you really want to keep your eye on because it's so difficult to pass here. If they can take their trucks and pass others, when they get to the front, it's going to be smooth sailing.
Tyler Reddick piloting the 19 this week. He's currently in the 12th spot, Hermie.
Yeah, Rick, he qualified 12th. Qualified 7th. A good qualifying run for this team. He's now 12th, but he fell back all those spots on the first lap. He had trouble with the shift from going to 2nd to 3rd, missed the shift, and bottled up basically the whole field. Luckily, not more damage, but Tyler Reddick fell back to 12th, and the caution's out now, Rick.
Yeah, we're hearing debris in turn number 2, and so the caution comes out for the 2nd time. That will re-rack this field and give us another exciting start.
This is the point in the race. They've run enough laps now where the drivers are calling their crew chiefs and saying, okay, I'm a little bit tight around others, or I'm loose, and the crew chiefs can start to formulate a plan exactly what kind of adjustments they want to make.
Somebody may want to put a spring rubber back in because there's one laying on the racetrack.
There's Jerry Baxter.
We're going to take a quick break and go to Greg Wolf out in the LA studios.
The more you know, the faster it gets. NASCAR.com. Powered by NASCAR.
And welcome back to the Driving for Lineman 200 Gateway Motorsports Park. The sun beginning to go down below the horizon, so won't be as big of an item for the drivers any longer.
So glad we're here, man. It's been a great 2 days. These trucks are really running well on this track. The drivers, to every one of them, talk about how much fun it is to race on this little short track that thinks it's a super speedway.
And the 29 of Ryan Blaney seems to be struggling early on. Hermie, what's going on?
You're right, Rick. He qualified 14th, and he was going nowhere. In fact, he had fallen back to 17th. So they came down pit road, did not change tires, but this truck has been very, very tight. They took wedge out and went up 2 rounds on the track bar, trying to get the rotation better through the center of the corner. So they're hoping for improvement on the 29, Ray.
Hermie, we had 4 hours of practice yesterday, and when Matt Crafton first hit the racetrack, he went down into the corner and had no brakes. His pedal went clear to the floor. The package that they brought here to Gateway was the one they had used last November out in Phoenix. He had the same problem there. So the team had to actually get a plane, fly down their brakes that they normally use at Martinsville, and bring them here. The truck that Crafton is driving tonight is the one he used to win with earlier this year at Martinsville. He said, problem is solved. Brakes will not be an issue tonight.
All right, Tuesday, July 15th, baseball's best. They're going to gather in Minnesota as the captain, Derek Jeter, takes to the field in his last All-Star game ever. It's going to promise to be an emotional and unforgettable night. Special coverage beginning at 4:30 on Fox Sports 1, followed by the 2014 All-Star game at 7:30 on Fox. It's streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
Did you know that one of the Tigers' aces, Max Scherzer, threw a complete game shutout a couple nights ago, and that's his first complete game in his 179th start?
You know, it surprises me that you know Tigers baseball like that. Okay, no, it doesn't.
You know, I was walking down the street last night, and Matt Adams, player for the St. Louis Cardinals, dad came up to me and he said, hey man, I love NASCAR. I'm Matt Adams' dad.
And you were wearing Holiday's jersey.
I was.
Nice work.
I said I'm a huge fan of Matt Adams.
That's right.
Wish I had his jersey.
Yeah.
Under our second caution here from Gateway Motorsports Park, and they'll line back up again. Darrell Wallace Jr. and Cole Custer have started on the front row all 3 times. This time Darrell Wallace Jr. chooses the inside line again. We'll see how it works out for him. Green flag back in the air.
Phil, we got to make some time on these starts. It's hard to pass while you got them doubled up. You need to make some bold moves. You see there, diving to the inside, Eric Jones. He made it. Couldn't make it work. Did make it work.
19, Tyler Reddick. See him off the pace.
Jones is persistent after Cole Custer. He couldn't make it work down in turn 1, but he's driven to the inside of him now. But look at Custer keep it wound up and keep that second spot.
A lot of talk in the garage there was that 51 truck of Eric Jones was one of the very fastest trucks. I asked his crew chief, Eric Phillips, did you guys come test her? He said, really haven't tested anywhere this year, but he said Eric is so good, even at a young age, as we watch a great side-by-side battle between Quiroga and the 21 of Coulter. He said he knows what feel he needs. We got that for him, and he's really, really fast.
Look who's coming up the inside strong here. Matt Crafton making the move. Passes 2 trucks down into turn 3.
And the 98 of Johnny Sauter gets tucked in behind Jeb Burton. Trying to get back up to speed as they come out of turn number 4.
Well, that 88 of Matt Crafton, another one of the trucks that everyone said was strong, is on the move. He started back in the 11th spot, already up to 8th.
Another truck on the move, that 77 of Vermont Quiroga. He's moving fast well. He's cracked the top 5.
Driver still looking for his first win in the Camping World Truck Series. Up front, you've got drivers like Cole Custer, Greg Alding, Vermont Quiroga, all in the top 5, still without a win.
Jones gets a little tight there, looks like, coming off turn 4. Lost some ground to that lead duo.
And if you're going to get tight down on that end, you're really going to be tight down in 1 and 2, the tighter end corner of the racetrack.
The top 2 have never been to this racetrack before. Well, actually, we'll throw in the top 5 have never been to this racetrack before, at least in a truck. But the top 2, Darrell Wallace Jr. running some pretty good lines, good laps. How big is that for a 16-year-old like Cole Custer to follow behind to see those lines and see how he enters this into each turn?
Cole Custer sat on the pole and he didn't really have anybody to watch. This kid's pretty good no matter what his situation is. I think these guys running in the first 5 here, nose to tail, are just evaluating what they've got right now, figuring out where they're better than the trucks that are directly ahead of them and how they can adjust their line a bit. You talk about a compromised racetrack, this is it. The trucks are going to handle differently in each end. You've got to move around a little bit to try to compensate for some handling issues that you have. And so far, it looks like the guy that is the fastest truck and is able to make the most moves is that guy right there, Armand Quiroga. He's up to 5th, and he's battling for the 4th spot.
I mentioned on that restart, Tyler Reddick had fallen off the pace. He's all the way back to the 25th position. What's the story on him, Hermie?
Well, Rick, we mentioned on the initial start of the race, he dropped back out of line, having trouble with the transmission. Now, I just talked to crew chief Doug Randolph. He said the transmission is now broke. He's having a hard time getting it and keeping it in 4th gear. And from listening to the radio from his teammate, Ryan Blaney, and crew chief Chad Kendrick, they gave a warning that the 19 may be in trouble.
Hey, Tyler does not have 2nd or 3rd. All he has is 4th, so be ready to jump in the outside line. The inside line is going to get jammed right here.
So they're having a difficulty getting started on the starts and restarts. Okay right now, but it'll definitely hurt him when it comes to pit road if it lives the entire race.
Well, it looks like Quiroga's not having any problems. He made that pass for 4th.
This is what happened on the restart just moments ago.
You could see Tyler Reddick pulls up high, only in 4th gear. He's not going to go anywhere. Loses all that track position and ground to the field.
And maybe having to hold that truck into high gear.
Is there anything you can do? I mean, when he doesn't have 2nd or 3rd, he starts in 1st, more or less, crawling out of turn 4, wraps it out as high as he can, and then shifts into 4th.
That's all he can do. And then if it's jumping out of 4th gear, when he comes down pit road, they can put a strap in there to hold that in gear, but he's going to have to wrestle with it right now.
Matt Crafton, Timothy Peters, a couple of the experienced drivers here on this track, working over young John Hunter Nemechek. Nemechek runs in the 7th spot. So that tells you, Rick, what kind of talent level we're talking about with the youth in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. John Hunter is hanging right there with the guy that won last week in Texas, our defending series champion. They battled for the 7th spot.
We saw John Hunter run extremely well at Dover, his last race, running up in the top 5 much of the race, ended up with a 6th place finish.
His career best finish, and then his dad bringing home in 3rd a week ago. Darrell Wallace Jr. has just about a 4/10 of a second lead over 16-year-old Cole Custer running 2nd. A great return to the Gateway Motorsports Park. It's been 4 years since the trucks have raced here, but not a lot has changed on the track. Still door-to-door, bumper-to-bumper racing in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Right now, it's Darrell Wallace Jr. out in front of Cole Custer. Eric Jones, Herman Caroga, and Gray Gaulding are your top 5. And I believe we figured out that that's the average age there, probably looking at about 19. You threw Herman Caroga in there, a little bit older.
Yeah, he's 34. How would you like to be 34 and be considered old?
Yeah.
I'm kind of cool with being considered old at 50, but at 34, man, I didn't want a bunch of 16-year-olds outrunning me.
Well, Bubba was talking about being old at 20, around a bunch of 16-year-olds.
This lap traffic could play into this lead that Bubba has put on these boys. Get your groove taken away from you, lose some momentum.
He lost a little bit right there.
Cole Custer could jump right up there and challenge for the lead.
Trying to get by Norm Benning in the 57. He has lost a little bit of that lead that he had over Cole Custer. So the 54 of Darrell Wallace Jr., the first to get to the lap trucks and negotiating through them, and then Cole Custer following in the line that he opens up.
They're not able to shake that 51 truck either of Eric Jones. He's staying right with him. Caroga has been able to get by Gray Gaulding to take over the 4th spot in the blue 77, and now he's making some moves towards that front 3.
There's Eric Jones in the 51. This season, it has been all the 51 or the 88 in victory lane. It's been Kyle Busch who's been piloting the 51 in the 4 previous races that have been won by that truck this year. The 88 of Matt Crafton has won 2. That's the first time he's ever won multiple races in a season. And Cole Custer continuing to chase after the 54 here at Gateway Motorsports Park. Harley?
Well, Rick, Cole Custer started this race from the pole. He was very loose on both ends of the racetrack when the race started. Now he is reporting to his crew that he's better in 1 and 2, but still free in 3 and 4. And that part of the racetrack is a long sweeping corner, and he wants to get that part of the track better because he really thinks coming off 4 on this long straightaway, it's hurting his momentum. So look for them to tighten up the 00 when they come down pit road.
Yeah, and you're talking about a loose truck. Matt Crafton won Texas in a dominating fashion, but the guy that had the most style points hanging onto a truck all night long was Eric Jones. Man, that thing was sideways. He was driving it out of control. Young man was able to somehow make his way all the way to the finish. Had a decent run down there, but what a handful he had. He was very impressive to be able to survive even in Texas, and now here he is contending in St. Louis.
2 times that Eric Jones has been behind the wheel of the 51. He's finished in the 18th position and the 11th spot. He was 18th at Martinsville and 11th last week in Texas.
Ron Hornaday, we talked about his truck didn't have the type of speed he was looking for, but he thought once the tires got some laps on him, he could be very competitive. See him racing hard here for the 10th spot with Jeb Burton. He's been able to make some progress, and look at him right through the center of the corner there. Hornaday knows how to race this track, and he's making some ground up.
Yeah, Ron started all the way back in the 16th spot, so he's already gained 5 positions, looking to make it 6 if he can get by the 13 of Jeb Burton.
That'll break into the top 10. Ron Hornaday will use a little patience here as we've completed just 38 of the 160 laps, so still over 122 laps to go for this one. 200 miles is the distance.
How's that feel for Jeb Burton to have 51-time race winner, champion Ron Hornaday breathing down your neck, knowing that he's got some ground he wants to make up?
And speaking of breathing down your neck, how about the battle for second now? Cole Custer has the 51 of Eric Jones moving to the inside. He'll try to take that spot away.
Boy, that truck really turned good for Eric Jones right down on the bottom. That 51 truck is on the move. Fastest truck on the racetrack that last lap.
How about Cole Custer wiggling there as he came out of turn 2 and down the backstretch?
You don't think he might have a flat tire, do you? That's what that looked like.
Thought he was loose earlier.
Well, maybe he went up the racetrack a little bit higher than he'd been and thought he might have got a little bit of debris on his tire, so he's trying to shake him off before he got down to turn 3.
Pretty smart for a rookie that age to have that presence, knowing he slid a little high. Let's shake it off while we're going straight. try to mount a charge on the 51 of Eric Jones.
Pole winner has dropped back to the 3rd spot. Everyone now chasing the 54 of Darrell Wallace Jr.
Do you belong in this circle? Under the 1,800-watt glow of stadium lights? Can you withstand the pressure and go nose to nose with a Sprint Cup driver and keep your wits about you at every turn? Round and round you go, and when you'll rise, nobody knows.
And welcome back. Darrell Wallace Jr. still out in front of the driving for lineman 200. Race number 7 for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series in 2014. This is actually the 14th race here at Gateway, but we had about a 4-year hiatus in 2010, the last race that was run here. Darrell Wallace Jr. has figured the track out.
He's running a Toyota. Toyota has swept the season thus far. All 6 races have been won by Toyota, as you mentioned, either Matt Crafton or Kyle Busch. And really, the streak goes back to last year, 8 straight wins for Toyota. 12 of the last 13 races have been won by Toyota in the series.
And when you mentioned go back to the last 2 races of the last season, the 51 won both of those in Phoenix and Homestead. 2 different drivers.
Eric Jones, Kyle Busch.
And that streak has continued. Now Eric Jones, wow, 3 wide here. TJ Bell had to move up the racetrack, and on the inside of that's the 0-2 of Tyler Young.
And look at Eric Jones. He's faced with that same problem getting by those 2 trucks. They're not side by side now, so a little smoother for Jones as he closes in on our leader.
0.6 of a second separating Darrell Wallace Jr. and Eric Jones.
They're pretty heavy traffic right now for these guys. We run 47 laps. We talk about the pit window being somewhere around 60 to 65, maybe a little earlier the first time because we have the pace laps and the warm-up that you have to add to that.
Boy, it sure is good when you're running second. The leader's got a bit of a lead to see him come up on some lap traffic, try to take advantage of it as Jones is doing. He's going to close in even further on Bubba Wallace.
It was 0.6 of a second last time by. Now it's 0.3 of a second, the gap between 1 and 2.
Jones can smell that lead right now.
Teammates running nose to tail.
Exactly. I was going to say, remember that 54 truck is a teammate to that 51 truck.
Both out of Kyle Busch Motorsports. Eric Jones taking a little higher line as Norm Benning in the 57 was down at the bottom of the track.
Wallace Jr. got a great run off turn 2. There goes the 51 looking tight. You know, you see him exiting a little high off turn 4. I think that truck's got a bit of a push. He gets that communicated to Eric Phillips, one of the best crew chiefs ever in the truck series. He gets that. Oh, watch out now. Ted Miner squeezed down on Armand Quiroga, but Armand was able to pull through. He gets an adjustment or 2 to that 51 truck, Phil. As tight as it looks like it is off turn 4, it could be tough.
And I wonder if that's where experience is also going to come into play too, because remember we talk about the young drivers versus the experience of a Crafton and a Peters and a Hornaday and a Sauter. They're going to have to make the right adjustments on these pit stops coming up here in about 10 laps.
Timothy Peters and that 17 truck currently running in the 9th spot, right?
And Rick, yesterday in the first 2-hour practice, he and his crew chief Marcus Richmond had a 10-item checklist, and they kind of called it a test session. They wanted to try to get this truck a little bit freer. It was tight throughout the practice, and I believe it is again today. He started 10th and has moved up to 9th. Let's listen into the radio.
Neutral off the wall, turn 3, tight, compress, having to wait on the throttle, tight, center off 2.
And he said when we put some numbers to that, he's about a 3 tight and then a 2 loose off. He's added 1 round of brake to the front of that truck, and they're going to make air pressure adjustments on the right side. Lots and lots of traffic out there tonight, but that's tough when you got a real tight race truck.
I love the way Timothy Peters reports his truck to his crew chief, man. He was very precise, tight off too tight. You know, he's very direct about what his issues are. That allows the crew chief to go to work on that truck.
And so green flag pit stops will be coming up here in the next 10 laps. We'll take a quick break and be right back for those. Could be bad for Tyler Reddick, who doesn't have 2nd or 3rd gear.
You got AAA, AA, single A.
And then you get down to independent ball, and then you get to the Pay Coast League.
We're getting paid $1.19.
It's a last shot for everyone who wants to play pro ball.
You want to play a pickup game in the backyard, and hopefully scouts show up? You can put up great stats and still wind up getting traded for a bucket of balls.
56 laps are complete, now 57, as Darrell Wallace Jr. continues to lead. He is the only one who's been out front here at Gateway Motorsports Park.
And Matt Crafton has been working on John Hunter Nemechek for the last 30 laps, and he's finally gotten to the inside of him. But look at the run that Nemechek had off the turn, but Matt Crafton is finally going to make the pass for the 7th spot. That's how tough passing is here. We talked at the beginning about track position and how hard it is to pass. We're seeing that.
And we're also seeing green flag pit stops. Hermie, the 30's in front of you.
Yeah, Ron Hornaday, pretty good run up to right at the top 10 from his qualifying position of 16th. His truck's a little bit tight. It'll be 4 tires, Sunoco fuel, and a little bit of a wedge adjustment on the 30.
Oh, lengthy
Got
stop.
a problem. Had to jack that. I think maybe the air hose was underneath that left front tire.
Jack took the gas can.
Yeah, the
too.
gas man did a great job retaining that gas can. It about went out the pit box with him, and if the if the gas can left the pit box, that would be equipment removing from his pit area and been in trouble. Watch this. Come back here.
Well, he did a nice job there.
He did a great job.
About another foot, and that thing would have been out of the pit box.
Yep. Cole Custer on his way to you, Hermie.
This young man has been very, very impressive tonight. Obviously started up front, has dropped back to the 3rd position, started out a little bit on the free side, and he's continued that in turns 3 and 4. He's asked his crew for 4 tires, looking at a little bit of an air pressure adjustment and a track bar adjustment potentially on this 0-0. Cole Custer, 4 tires and fuel.
Also important for these guys to not to make any mistakes on pit road either. Either speeding on pit road, leaving too soon.
They're exactly are sliding through the pit even, Phil, and you're right. We take for granted just how talented these young kids are, but a lot of these things, they're doing them for the first few times, and getting in and off of pit road under green flag conditions is one of those things.
Ray Dunlap.
Ben Kennedy's coming in. He's saying that his entry in his number 31 truck has not been good throughout the course of the night. His spotter, Jimmy Kitchens, has been trying to tell him to take a different line in. You saw a huge track bar change there. Almost everybody trying to raise the track bar, some of them 4 and 5 rounds to try to loosen these things up. We've heard tight, tight, tight from just about everybody. As we look back, you see Timothy Peters coming in. He'll also go up 1 round on the track bar on his Red Horse Toyota Tundra. As I said, they've been adding front brake, and he's also going to make an air pressure adjustment on the right side. Hermie, Joey Coulter's coming at you.
Joey Coulter comes into this race coming off 2 consecutive top 10 finishes. His truck has also been a little bit on the tight side. 4 tires, Sunoco fuel, and they're coming up just a little bit of wedge out of the right rear for Joey Coulter.
Ray Galding is out of gas, it looks like, on the back straightaway. And Phil, I don't know if he's going to make it back.
I'm not sure either. And that's what we're talking about, the mistakes we made. People started pitting around lap number 60. They kept it out, tried to go a couple more laps, and it didn't work. Man.
He was running inside the top 5. There's our leader, Hermie, on pit road. Or excuse me, that's the 51.
Yeah, the 51 of Eric Jones hits his pit stall. He has been tight the entire run, but the better he got closer to the front, the better his truck drove. His 4 tires, air pressure adjustment, and Sunoco fuel for Eric Jones.
One of the big issues right now, that 20 on that access road, we just saw a truck going by him. He's got to pick up because they have to use the access road to get onto pit road. Hermie?
The 51 of Bubba Wallace has led pretty much since the drop of the green flag. His truck has been a little bit tight in 1 and 2, pretty good in 3 and 4. It's going to be 4 tires, Sunoco fuel, only air pressure adjustments for the 54 of Bubba Wallace.
Oh no, another truck.
Slow, that's around Caroga in the 77 slow, getting onto that access road.
No reason to stretch it right here either, guys. The leaders have pitted. Why not come to pit road and get your...
Look at how long this stop is for the 54.
Jack on the left side, back up on the 54.
Phil, you nailed it. We don't need any mistakes. We made some mistakes on our gas mileage. As you see, the stalled 20 truck. Also, Caroga going slow, and then a slow pit stop for our leader. Maybe that left rear tire wasn't on when they dropped it. I see a bent left rear fender there.
I think he has damage on that left rear quarter panel. Hermie, what went on with that 54?
Well, they dropped it, and the left rear tire was not all the way on the truck. So when they dropped it, the tire came off the back of the, and hit the back of the fender, caused a little bit of damage. So not only a lengthy pit stop, but caused some left rear damage on the quarter panel on the 54.
So for the third time, the caution has come out. Take a look at this stop.
Ooh, he tried to go and the tire wasn't even on. So,
but the jack was dropped, so that is his signal to go.
Right.
Listen into the radio and what took place on this stop.
Stop! Lift it up, guys! Lift it up! Bubba, help him lift it up! Get that jack under. There you go.
So a big mistake. When the caution came out, there were 7 on the lead lap. John Hunter Nemechek has scored our race leader.
He hadn't pitted, Rick, and that's going to put a few guys a lap down that didn't see that one coming.
Remember, Ryan Blaney pitted and made some adjustments on lap number 16. He stayed on the racetrack. He's on the lead lap right now. Tyler Reddick, who had trouble on the restart, as we watch our Mount Carogas pit stop. Tyler Reddick now is being shown in the 3rd spot.
The 7 that are on the lead lap: John Hunter Nemechek, Ryan Blaney, Tyler Reddick, Johnny Sauter, Black, Craft, and Quiroga. You've got to remember, though, Eric Jones, Cole Custer, Joey Coulter, those guys just came in, so they would take the wave around.
Yeah, for sure. They'll lose some track position,
Right.
but they'll take the wave around.
To be on the lead lap. Trucks that had just come onto pit road. And it looks as though the 19 is too soon getting onto pit road.
He may have been out of gas, so he may not have had any choice. He's not been to pit road yet, so he may say, hey, you bring that thing in right now because we're running too short of fuel.
And plus, they've got a transmission problem, so him starting up in the front would be a big mess. So him taking that lead lap truck and starting from the rear of the field might not be a bad idea.
Again, the commitment line to get onto pit road is actually in turn 3.
Now what's happening with him? This is unusual.
Remember, he just had 1st and 4th gear. Maybe he has run out of fuel, because he's trying to work his way to his pit stall.
He was definitely having some issues. I think you're right. All these lead lap trucks that have not pitted are going to pit, and that we'll probably have 20 wave arounds here because the rest of the field has been to pit road already.
Yeah, it just had come to pit road within the last 3, 4, 5 laps.
But this is a game changer. We talked about how important track position is. A lot of people that were up front are getting ready to lose that track position.
Ray, what's going on with the 20?
Well, they did finally get the Krispy Kreme Chevrolet refired. It took them quite a bit here to get that done. The 12 was out of fuel. He was sitting in the way. We also saw the 50 having problems. So a number of race trucks running out of fuel, including the number 20. They had just come on the radio a lap prior to that, and his crew chief Jeff Hensley said, we need to pit in 2 laps. So apparently people have made some miscalculations on how far they could go.
Pit road now is open, and here comes John Hunter Nemechek as well as Ryan Blaney. These are the 1st and the 2nd running trucks right now.
And let's send it down to Hermie Sadler.
You know, the 29 of Ryan Blaney has come to his pit stall. Remember, he pitted about 17 laps after everybody else and was able to top off with fuel. Still not a good handling truck. Truck's been way too tight since they started the race tonight. So it'll be 4 tires, Sunoco fuel, and another chassis adjustment. John Hunter Nemechek also a little bit on the tight side. 4 tires, fuel for the 8 truck.
Lead lap trucks still making their way onto pit road.
Johnny Sauter is getting his pit stop done. They put Sunoco fuel in it, 4 tires way up on the track bar. Sauter said he can't even believe how tight the race trucks were in traffic. This all happening here while we're under yellow. While we were still under green, the 88 and the 13 both came down pit road. So all 3 ThorSport trucks have now gotten service. Crafton and Jeff Burton were on pit road actually when the yellow came out.
That's a break because the leaders slow their speed down. You can get off pit road without losing that lap. So that's a break for those teams.
And we'll see how many drivers will end up taking the wave around when we return to Gateway Motorsports Park.
Everyone is here for one thing and one thing alone. The pure love of racing. Find your local track at NASCAR.com/hometracks.
And welcome back under the lights at Gateway Motorsports Park, and getting ready for the restart. Driving for lineman 200. We're expecting 11 trucks to take the wave around here in just a moment.
More than that, I guess.
Yeah, just everybody that was lined up in front of our leader, Matt Crafton. There's the 54, Bubba Wallace. We saw the damage on that pit stop. Hermie, what's going on with that team? How was that truck?
Well, very disappointed, all the people in the 54. Crew Chief Jerry Baxter, miscommunication on the pit stop. They did not get the jack up high enough on the left rear. Here's the radio on the 54 as they explain it to their driver.
Jack wasn't high enough, couldn't get the left rear tire on. They told him to jack it up. He thought he meant to let it go, so he dropped the jack.
That was the explanation for Bubba Wallace, but very disappointing. And not only did he lose the lead and track position, a little bit of damage to the left rear. We'll have to see how that affects the driving of the 54.
Yeah, he couldn't afford to come down pit road and work on that damage because he had to take the waiver on. Once you pit, then you give away your opportunity to take the waiver on. These are all the waiver ons. We're not under green yet. No. These are all the waiver ons catching up to the field.
Yeah, if you were on the track ahead of the leader, Matt Crafton, it doesn't matter whether you're on the tail end of the lead lap or 10 laps down. If your track position puts you ahead of the leader, you're able to go around the pace car and catch up to the back of the field. What that does is gives people an opportunity to get a lap back, get back in the race. But more importantly, it cleans up the restart. Matt Crafton now doesn't have lap cars or lap trucks in front of him. He can focus on his line and lead the race. NASCAR, because of so many wave rounds we just had, has added a lap. We were going to go back to green then, but they've added a lap and we're going to wait.
Let's do say that the 51 of Eric Jones that will line up in about the 7th or 8th position, he got the free pass when the caution. He was the top running truck, not on the lead lap when the caution came out, so he got the free pass, which allows him to restart in front of all these wave around trucks.
The other element with the wave around is they're not able to come on the pit road.
Yeah, you've got to be in front of the leader in order to take the wave around. If you come on pit road, obviously you're going to give up that track position that the leader has. So a real break for some of these competitors that couldn't run as far on their gas as we saw John Hunter Nemechek run, pinning them a lap down. Nemechek now rides in the 2nd spot. Be interesting to see what happens with Tyler Reddick. We know that transmission is causing him some issues. We saw earlier in the race where people were having to dodge around him on the restart. Hopefully he'll be near the rear.
And next Saturday, it's a full night of MLB action, beginning with baseball night in America on Fox. The Braves take on Jason Worth and the Nationals. Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers battle the Indians, which is the Tigers, obviously, your good friends there.
Yes, they are.
Or the Pirates are going to square off against the Cubs. Then the Rangers take on Mike Trout and the Angels over on Fox Sports 1. Our MLB doubleheader begins next Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern on Fox, and continues at 10 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1.
I just want you to say Tigers with a little more enthusiasm. That's why I hit your leg when you mentioned that.
I was wondering why you continue to hit me up here.
What about Ryan Blaney? He had a truck he couldn't drive early in the race. Now he's running 3rd. The whole complexion of this event has been turned over.
Race leader, Matt Crafton, bringing the field out of turn number 4. Green flag back in the air.
See Reddick in the back. He laid back a little bit to get that thing wound up, so they didn't give up so much time on the restart. Now he's passing some trucks.
He did a pretty good job doing it, too.
Ryan Blaney in the 29 trying to hang on to that 2nd spot.
Ooh, Eric Jones was slipping around down there in turns 1 and 2. A couple of trucks getting a run on Jones.
Crafton trying to do something he had never done before, win back-to-back races. John Hunter Nemechek able to get by the 29 of Ryan Blaney, and Hunter Nemechek seems to be closing in on that 88. Oh, and into the wall goes the 07. So Ray Black Jr.
And he was on the lead lap. He was being shown in the 6th position. Tough break for him.
Caught a great break with not being on pit road yet, staying on the lead lap, and now that break out the window.
This will allow all those wave around trucks now to get in front of the lap down trucks. So when we get the next restart, everyone will be able to line up in order. See him driving down on the outside of Cole Custer. Cole gets a little bit loose on the inside, makes contact with Black.
Oh, what a shame.
Sends him around. Could be some damage to the right front of that 00 of Cole Custer.
You can see Custer just gets loose on the bottom, runs into Black. Timothy Peters had to take evasive action there to keep from hitting Custer as he slowed down.
So Cole Custer gets into the 07. Ray Black Jr. into the wall. See the safety crews over there. It looks as though Ray Black Jr. is going to try to drive that one back to pit road. We'll be back for the green flag.
Introducing America's greatest invention ever. Park's finest from Ballpark.
What?
Made with 100% beef, no nitrates, and infused with bold premium seasonings like slow smoked hickory. And just wait till you taste it. New Park's finest from Ballpark.
Matt Crafton in front of the field. Driving for lineman 200 from Gateway Motorsports Park. Looking to go back-to-back. We won at Texas a week ago. This is why we're under our most recent caution. 00. Cole Custer moves up the track, gets into the 07 of Ray Black Jr.
Just gets a little bit loose down on the bottom. Has to use the racetrack to chase it. Unfortunately, gets into the 07 a couple times. Watch this view from Timothy Peters on board. It's going to be a great look at this. Not so much for Ray Black Jr.
Yeah. Down the backstretch, plenty of room here.
Yeah, Black is giving Custer plenty of room as they race. They didn't chase him down the hill. When he got to the corner, he just dove in there like he's supposed to, and Cole got loose. And look at Timothy. He was in the middle there and was able to avoid hitting Custer. There's a little bit of damage to the right front of that truck, too, so we'll see if that affects his handling. Talk about this being a short track. Oh, yeah, by the way, we're going to run 160 miles an hour. We're going to probably need some downforce when we get to the turn to get a pickup truck to turn going that fast.
But we talk about how much track position means here. Neither the 00 or the 54, Bubba Wallace, who had trouble on the pit stop, want to give up that track position to repair the damage.
Ray Dunlap.
Guys, yesterday John West Townley was not here during our 4 hours of practice. He was in Michigan running in the ARCA series. Had a good run up there, but Nelson Piquet Jr. practiced this truck yesterday, and the Zaxby's machine had a little trouble communicating earlier. They were not able to hear the driver at all, so John West was giving him hand signals. He was tapping the door to let him know it's tight. He just came to the pits moments ago, and they did change out the radio. So now with new radio, better communications for team number 5.
You may have wondered why he was able to pass the 02 of Tyler Young. That's because Tyler was a lap down. John West is on the lead lap. Lead lap truck start up front.
Green flag back in the air. Matt Crafton, John Hunter Nemechek racing to turn number 1. Good restart for John Hunter Nemechek this time. Has the advantage going through, and he'll take the lead away from Matt Crafton as they come out of turn 2.
Crafton got a good run, though, Rick. He's going to try to challenge back on the inside as they head toward turn 3.
I think John Hunter likes the idea of maybe leading this race.
John Hunter Nemechek with the advantage, running on the high side, able to stay in front of Matt Crafton.
How cool is that?
John Hunter Nemechek leading at Gateway Motorsports Park. And guess who's spotting for it?
His father.
His dad, Joe Nemechek.
On Father's Day weekend. How good's that got to feel? His son is leading his first career laps in a truck, and he's out running the champion, Matt Crafton, last week's winner.
Down the backstretch they go. All in line behind that 8 of John Hunter Nemechek.
Remember yesterday, just the first lap on the racetrack, he drove it down in turn number 1 a little bit too hard and made contact with the outside wall.
Would you officially say he's totally recovered from that now?
Yes.
To the inside, it's the 54, Darrell Wallace Jr. He had been dominant since the drop of the green flag.
He's able to make the move there around Joey Coulter as they race toward turn 1.
We saw his teammate, the 51 of Eric Jones, right now running in the 3rd spot, was very close to matching Bubba Wallace's speed. Now he has position on Bubba Wallace, and with 81 laps to go, it's going to be interesting to see if Bubba Wallace will be able to overcome the fact that now he's behind the 51.
Is that some smoke out of the 51 truck?
Well, sure looks like it.
Looks as though the 51 is smoking a bit. Running in that 3rd spot, Eric Jones.
Talked about him getting an adjustment and how good that truck was going to be. It's fast now, but it might have an issue.
Still smoke rolling out. Looks like it's come from the left side or just in the center.
See the shiny tire? Is that a bit of a tire rub on the left side? Maybe an adjustment that took some wedge out there or changed the track bar and might have gotten that tire into the fender. These bodies are so precise, laying right near those tires. Any adjustment could have caused a rub.
May even have had a little bit of contact with somebody on a restart. Doesn't seem evident where the contact was.
Sparks still flying underneath the 88 as well, where that side skirt continues to hit the track.
We've seen that since we got to St. Louis. He hit the curb there, did Jones, bounced up the hill a bit, but man, Phil. The adjustment Eric Phillips made on this truck has brought it to life. He's going to be hard to beat if that tire rub doesn't bite him.
Remember, he just got the free pass 2 cautions ago, and here he is now racing up in the 3rd spot.
There's your top 3. John Hunter Nemechek out in front, Matt Crafton and Eric Jones. Hermie.
What a restart that was for John Hunter Nemechek to get the lead coming off turn 2 on the outside. And what's better than that is a little bit of reinforcement from your spotter. Listen to this.
Low, clear low, clear, clear, just clear. Damn, boy.
That is veteran crew chief Jerry Kennan, who was on top of the spotter stand tonight. Father Joe Nemechek is on top of the pit box. A lot of excitement in the 8 pit.
A lot of excitement in the booth, too, man. It's so fun to watch John Hunter go.
There's Joe. He was spotting for him during practices yesterday, but opted for the pit box for tonight's race. Still smoke coming out from underneath that 51 of Eric Jones.
Do whatever you want. You got him by 6 now. Just make sure you arc it in there good. I keep reminding, I can't help it.
Jerry, again, I'm going to keep reminding you to arc that truck down in the corner, because when you do that, it really makes it roll through the center well, and you get pointed in the right direction on exit.
John Hunter Nemechek leading his first laps in the Camping World Truck Series. Matt Crafton chasing after him. Eric Jones, Ryan Blaney, Johnny Sauter, they're your top 5. And it's Darrell Wallace Jr., Joey Coulter, Jeb Burton, Cole Custer, and Ron Hornaday, your top 10.
This is so fun to watch. Very impressive run.
It's a 17-year-old John Hunter Nemechek behind the wheel of the 8, leading at Gateway Motorsports Park.
Oh, yeah. I found it, too.
Oh, file it, Frank.
With Express Lane from Esurance, just one click can autofill your driving info and help you get a quote faster than ever. Welcome to the modern world. Esurance, backed by Allstate. Click or call.
And welcome back to the driving for lineman 200 from Gateway Motorsports Park. Just 70 laps to go past the halfway point of this 160-lap race. John Hunter Nemechek in front of Matt Crafton. Now Crafton looking to the inside, trying to take that lead back. He had it when the green flag flew for the restart. John Hunter Nemechek took it away.
Oh, get a little bit loose. That's going to give Crafton a run on John Hunter.
He recovered quite well.
We see that arcing in. We heard the spotter, Jerry Kennan, talking about, I'm going to tell you to arc in, I'm going to tell you to arc in. That's what John Hunter's doing. But it's opening the door for Matt Crafton. Matt might just stick his nose in there, and John Hunter's going to have to make sure he doesn't come down the track. He's leaving a big door open for Crafton.
That veteran move by Matt Crafton, he's going to realize that too, and I don't think he's going to make that move unless he's far enough up there that he knows John Hunter sees him.
What about John Hunter Nemechek driving a loose truck like that? Got sideways off the turn, was able to correct it and keep the lead. That's impressive.
We talked early on, beginning of the show, about the youth versus experience. Certainly no better evidence than right here. We've got a 17-year-old John Hunter Nemechek leading one of our veterans, our defending champion, Matt Crafton.
John Hunter Nemechek, only 2 races in 2014. And now leading at Gateway Motorsports Park. First laps led ever in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series for that young man.
Crafton's all over him. He's got a solid truck. We talked about in the pre-race, Crafton, Eric Jones, maybe the 2 best trucks, and those trucks are running currently 2nd and 3rd.
John Hunter has the good fortune of having the clean air. That's so important nowadays and in all forms of NASCAR, that clean air.
At the start of this race, it was all Darrell Wallace Jr. He led 62 laps. So he was shuffled back on a green flag pit stop that got him where he had to do the wave around. John Hunter Nemechek has already led 20 laps now as he's out in front of Matt Crafton. Crafton has also been out front for 10 laps, and Ivan Quiroga has led a lap in this race.
Bubba Wallace has successfully overcome that pit road issue, but right now he's running up in the top 5. Doesn't seem to have, he doesn't have the track position. He has the same speed as these trucks up here, but not the track position.
How difficult is it for a 17-year-old to know he's got a veteran behind him that's just waiting to pounce.
Well, I think he knows that the veteran's going to give him a little bit of space and respect the fact that he's leading this race. Matt Crafton's a very fair racer, but that door is getting opened wider and wider for Crafton. It's just a matter of time before he's going to have to dive down in there and try to take the spot away.
Here he goes, looking at the inside of that 8. Does he have enough room to get in front of him? The 88 trying to make the pass on the 8.
John Hunter's going to fight back on the high side.
Very strong truck tonight for Crafton. They get into each other. John Hunter Nemechek stays in front.
Crafton got loosed on the bottom. We see it happen so many times, and that's one of our veterans down there.
I think that maybe surprised Crafton that John Hunter was able to stay up beside him. He had the preferred line. He drove around the bottom. John Hunter was way up out of the groove high, but he was able to get in the gas and pin Crafton and take it. Look there. He didn't even hardly crowd him, but Crafton got sideways, and John Hunter grabbed the lead back.
Close call there for John Hunter Nemechek. As Joe Nemechek shaking his head going, oh boy. How many laps do we still have left? 64? Oh boy.
We're getting close to our window now where if the caution flag were to come out, they can make a final pit stop and have enough fuel to go the rest of the way, Ray.
And Phil, as I look down here at most of the guys' charts on pit road, they want to pit by lap 130. But as I was doing research on our prior races here, we've run 13 races here before tonight. And in 6 of those, the final pit stop happened between lap 103 and 107. Now, I don't know if that's just coincidence or what, but we'll keep our eye on when that can happen. But they could go to lap 130. Hermie?
Well, Ray, the 29 of Ryan Blaney has turned a ill-handling truck into a potential piece of good fortune. Remember, they stayed on the racetrack or came in and pitted about 17 laps after most of the leaders because their truck was too tight. That came in to benefit them when people started to pit and drivers were running out of fuel on the racetrack. The 29 was able to stay on the racetrack and pit under caution. They got up to 4th on track position, and that's what he's holding on to right now. He's holding on to that 4th spot, even with the truck still being tight.
Yeah, and he's not far behind Eric Jones, one of the dominant trucks tonight, too. You can see it right there. That's the 51 of Eric Jones. There's Ryan Blaney in the 29, and he has his buddy Bubba Wallace at 54 right behind him.
There's the gap between 1 and 2. That's about 3 truck lengths, which is quite a bit further than the 1 inch that separated them when they were coming out of turn number 4. John Hunter Nemechek continuing to lead the field at Gateway Motorsports Park. He'll be driving for lineman 200 here on Fox Sports
1. Humans. Even when we cross our T's and dot our I's, we still run into problems. Namely, other humans. Which is why at Liberty Mutual Insurance, auto policies come with new car replacement and accident forgiveness if you qualify. See what else comes standard at libertymutual.com. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Responsibility. What's your policy?
Virtually no gap between 1 and 2 now. John Hunter Nemechek in front of Matt Crafton, but Crafton continuing to look to the inside, trying to take the lead away.
John Hunter ain't afraid to let that thing hang out, entering the corner, cut it to the bottom, and Crafton can't make a move on him.
He gets a good run off the corner, John Hunter does. Crafton's able to gain entering and through the center. John Hunter gets that thing turned and gets a good run off the corner.
It's interesting. We talk about how important it is to be hugging that bottom. John Hunter's doing a hybrid version of hugging the bottom, going in really high and then slipping it all the way to the bottom on exit.
Wow, look at Ramon Quiroga go by the 13 of Jeb Burton, slow on the track. He's going to be making that left turn onto the access road and get to pit road.
Looks like the front tires are up on that truck. Not sure what's going on.
I'm not sure. Something in the rear. Might be right rear.
Some sort of an issue. We're about 20-25 laps, as Ray Dunlap was talking about, away from pit stops. And if we get green flag pit stops, this race could very well be won on pit road, guys.
Well, we saw a lot of people struggle with their fuel mileage during our first run. Also some mistakes on pit road as well. So you're right, Phil. This could come down to who doesn't make a mistake on pit road.
And what do you think about? What do you think about 2 tires as we watch Jeb Burton on pit road? Ray, what's going on with the 13?
Well, they're not really sure. They're looking in the rear end there in the Estes Toyota. Jeff Burton said he thought it was right rear. They've jacked it up there. They're going to do 4 tires here. Already got some Sunoco fuel in there. His crew chief, Jared Prince, said once we're in here, why don't we do 4? I don't think they're in their fuel window here, though.
Yeah, there's only 53 laps to go, Ray, so
Yeah,
he's definitely in his window, but it was an extended period of time on pit road. That's going to hurt him a little bit.
And an extended period of time getting to pit road. That truck was off pace as he headed toward the pits. You know, the interesting thing, Phil, while John Hunter runs that different line, he's able to hold off Crafton, but the guys running 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, they're not able to close on these two. A lot of times when you see guys battling so hard for the lead, the guys from behind join them. That distance between Crafton and Jones and Blaney has remained about the same.
Yeah, they continue to run very similar lap times. I mean, within 1/10 of a second about the whole top 5 or 6. So there's the gap between 1 and 2. Green flag pit stops will be coming up next. And welcome back to Gateway Motorsports Park in Madison, Illinois, about 5 miles to the east of St. Louis, Missouri, in the Arch. And the gap between 1 and 2 has grown just a bit. John Hunter Nemechek has about a half a second lead over Matt Crafton now.
About 3 truck lengths. That's about as much as he's had, that's for sure. See Eric Jones now, he closed it within about 8/10 of a second. Now it's back to about 1.2 seconds.
John Hunter Nemechek has led 41 laps. Most laps led has been Darrell Wallace Jr. at 62 to start off this race.
You know, I think if I'm John Hunter's crew chief / spotter, I'm going to start having him get his mind around this green flag pit stop that could be coming up. Maybe just say, okay, be thinking about your entry, be thinking about getting to pit road. Now, I know you're leading the race, and obviously you got to focus on that, but also just a few seconds of looking at that entry into turn 3 where you got to get down onto the flat and then think about getting to your box. Those are some things that I think could be reminded to John Hunter and would help him.
Saw Eric Jones make the pass around Tyler Young. Tyler Young not on the lead lap. He scored 2 laps down. Cole Custer has made his way onto pit road, so he will be making his green flag stop just a little bit earlier than some of the others and what we were expecting.
Yeah, and I think it's scheduled, though, again, maybe a little bit early, but he'll have a few laps more fresher tires than some of the other competitors. Herman, what are they talking about doing down there in the 00 pit?
Well, you guys are right. He actually pitted a little bit shorter than most of the other leaders early tonight on this series of green flag pit stops, but he's been fighting a little bit of a free condition, especially in turns 3 and 4. They're talking about 4 tires, fuel. They have not mentioned chassis adjustments, so fuel, tires, and air pressure adjustment for Cole Custer on this green flag pit stop.
They're struggling on the right side.
Another team with issues on pit road, losing some valuable time.
I think where he was running about the 7th spot, I believe, when he made his pit stop. I would have thought about maybe 2 tires because you don't need a full load of fuel. There's only 43 laps left.
I don't know. I think these leaders, Phil, will come and get 4.
But that's a way to make up some track position.
Exactly.
You know, I'm just sitting here thinking John Hunter finished 6th at Dover. His last time out, his best career start. I doubt that John Hunter's ever made a green flag pit stop.
It could be his first. And hopefully you're going to see it because in just a moment we'll be seeing green flag stops.
The internet was once ruled by these beautiful women. Then the Fox Sports Go app came out, diverting men's attention from these features to these features with live games and Fox Sports 1 shows.
Streamed anytime, anywhere?
It's easy to see why this app is so popular. Please don't touch that.
Welcome back to Gateway. A huge hit by Matt Crafton in turn number 4.
Wow, he had just grabbed the lead from John Hunter Nemechek, and it looked like he was driving away from those guys.
Very similar to how his truck looked at Dover. Just a couple races to go.
Matt Crafton had just taken the lead away from John Hunter Nemechek, and then John Hunter Nemechek and the 51 of Eric Jones were fighting for the 2nd spot as Crafton looked as though he was getting ready to pull away, and coming into turn number 4, he just turned right hard. Take a look at this.
Something happened on the right front of that truck. Watch this. God, it scared me to hit so. Look at that.
just would not turn.
Had the look of a right front tire going down, and you know, we'd run a long ways here.
We haven't heard any reports of.
He'd run about 60 laps, so we get a lot of brake heat here. It could have melted the bead on that right front tire, Michael.
And also racing along behind John Hunter Nemechek, he was on the brakes probably more than he wanted to be.
And probably not getting as much air through the brakes.
They weren't cooling as well. As soon as he got around him, this tire goes down. Makes you wonder, Phil. Great point.
What a tough situation for Matt Crafton. Points leader going into Dover, has a similar looking truck. Leaving Dover, loses the points lead, goes to Texas, wins the race, grabs the point lead back. Now we come here to Gateway, leading the points into the wall, and a really tough situation for that team. Here was the pass that he was able to take away the lead from John Hunter Nemechek.
He just got a great run up off turn 2 and made it to the inside of John Hunter. And I think Matt said, I'm diving down in there this time. I got to clear you. And he does it. And John Hunter races back on him, but Matt was able to hold the lead. And then after that, Eric Jones made his way around John Hunter as well.
But we're not going to have green flag pit stops. These guys are going to be able to make their pit stops under caution, but this race still could be won on pit road.
Yeah, that was so reminiscent of 2 races ago at Dover when 88 got up into the wall and smashed that right side.
I mean, that truck looks identical to the one that he just crashed here.
He was able to drive away, though, today.
Yeah.
But
trying to drive it back to pit road, but take a look at this.
Man, that's unbelievable.
That's about a 45-degree angle, too. That's a hard hit for Matt right there.
That's about the worst place you could hit because he was coming off the turn and the wall certainly narrows up right there.
So Eric Jones is our race leader. John Hunter Nemechek running second. Darrell Wallace Jr., Ryan Blaney, and Johnny Sauter are the top 5. We're hearing that pit road will be open this time by.
We had a few trucks that made green flag pit stops. Ron Hornaday, Cole Custer. They will take the waiver on like we saw earlier. They'll get on back on the lead lap, but they will lose their track position.
Ron Hornaday will grab the free pass, we're hearing, Phil, so that'll be a break for Ron.
He'll be able to line up in front of the waiver round trucks.
They can't pass the pace car on this access road, so they have to stay behind the pace car even though the radius is a little bit tighter. So they all are in line following after that 51. Back about 5 spots back is the 98 of Johnny Sauter, Ray.
When we had practice yesterday, Rick, he said his truck was absolutely plowing. He said it would be a 9 tight on a 1 to 10 scale. Right now it's a 4. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment on the right side for the Smoky Mountain Snuff Toyota Tundra. They'll put Sunoco fuel in here. It'll be a 4-tire stop for Sauter. Nice and smooth, they told him. Hermie?
The 51 of Eric Jones is the race leader, but he has asked for help in turns 1 and 2. The truck is a little bit too tight, and he's down on the splitter early in the run. 4 tires and fuel. John Hunter Nemechek loose on entry, tight center off. It'll be an air pressure adjustment to try to help him on his entry, and it looks like Nemechek will win the race off pit road.
What a great job by that team.
Bubba Wallace's team gains him a spot. Eric Jones loses a couple spots. There's Joe right there watching. Yes, and yes, we won that battle off pit road.
Been some pretty impressive surprises for John Hunter Nemechek, able to pass the 88 of Matt Crafton on the restart. Now Crafton brings out this caution. For the second time in 3 weeks, the 88 is behind the wall with a lot of damage to the right front. Brought out our most recent caution, and this is what happened.
Look at this contact. The truck just directly into that outside wall, comes up off the ground where it hits.
Here's a pretty good perspective. This is the 8 of John Hunter Nemechek.
Thank goodness for the safer barriers that they put in here and all the NASCAR tracks.
Think they can get that thing back together, Phil, or are they just trying to figure out how to load it up? That whole right front's got to be changed, the suspension, if they're going to go back out. Not many laps to go.
Yeah, 32 laps remaining.
How about this story? I know there's a lot of NASCAR Cup guys up in Michigan that are twittering, talking about how much they are enjoying watching John Hunter Nemechek lead this race tonight. What a great story that would be if he were able to win this race and get the victory for his dad on Father's Day, even down in the pit.
is standing by with Herbie.
Well, Joe, your son is getting the job done on the racetrack. Your pit crew, great pit stop on pit road. Can you guys actually win this race?
I think he can. You know, you listen to him on the radio, he sounds like a pro out there. It's just incredible. I can't thank all these guys enough. I mean, we got a new group of guys we put together this year. A lot of people trying to coach him out on the track, but he's doing what he needs to do, trying to save his tires. He's been good at saving gas. Whatever he's doing, he's saving a lot of gas. So I'm just sorry Sid and Donna weren't here. I know they were back in Texas watching on TV, and Mr. Ron and Miss Vera were thinking about you guys too, but hopefully he's going to have a shot here. It's fun to watch anyways.
Boys are having a good time. They believe down here in the 8 pit.
All smiles for Dad, Joe Nemechek.
One happy daddy.
Watching his son lead the field here at the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Less than 30 laps remain in the Driving for Lineman 200 Gateway Motorsports Park. In front of the field, it's John Hunter Nemechek for quite a few of the laps. 11 to be exact. It was Matt Crafton who was out in front of the field. He had just taken the lead away from John Hunter Nemechek when he got into the turn 4 wall. For more on that story, here's Ray Dunlap.
Well, Rick, the Goodyear guys are down here, and they have taken the right front tire off of Matt Crafton's truck, and they're going to go back and try to diagnose this thing a little bit. I looked it over. You know, there was no wear throughout the course of the weekend at all. Lots of guys went 75 or 80 laps. Crafton was at 54 on that run. They don't believe it was a wear issue. I checked around the outside edge. They did not have a melted bead at all, so they're really perplexed about what this problem was, but obviously a very, very hard hit for Crafton. He has gone to the trailer and has declined our interview for right now, which is understandable, but they just can't figure it out, what happened down here with this wheel. They're gonna take it apart and try to get a little better diagnosis.
Yeah, tough ending for Matt Crafton, points leader coming in.
Sometimes you run over stuff. You know, there's a lot of debris out on the track at times. Pieces fall off. You might have just cut a tire and hit the outside wall, but it definitely was an unfortunate place for it to happen.
John Hunter Nemechek chooses the outside line. That means Darrell Wallace Jr. will be on the inside of row number 1. Here's some radio communication with Darrell Wallace Jr. and his team.
Hey, Bubba, 16 pounds low on that right rear tire. I don't know how it rotated at all.
That's to do a little with something in the driver's seat, right? So the next comment you make about me, you might want to think about that.
You were going with a low right rear tire.
What's up for that one?
That's a good comeback, wasn't it?
Who in the hell was Johnny on that one? Damn it.
Having a little fun here. Take the tension away.
Yeah.
Huge restart right here, guys.
Trying to be lighthearted, get him a little bit loose as we have 28 laps to go. It'll be 27 when they get to the start-finish line, and we're staying here until the checkered flag.
No more commercial breaks. We're going to follow this thing to the end. I love John Hunter on the outside. He's proven he knows how to run it up there. See if he can hold the lead on this restart.
Green flag back in the air.
Bubba gets a good start on the bottom. He's going to race side by side with John Hunter into turn 1.
Darrell Wallace Jr. was able to take the lead away from the aid of John Hunter Nemechek at the beginning of this one, and now he gets it again. This time it's Darrell Wallace Jr. leading. Now coming to the inside. John Hunter Nemechek's going to try to steal it away.
He's going to have to be careful down on the bottom. That thing will get loose.
There's a little bumping and banging as they work through 3 and 4. 3 wide as they come out of turn number 4. For the lead. Darrell Wallace Jr. on the outside has it.
Eric Jones to the bottom with a push from Timothy Peters.
Eric Jones is going to drive it hard down in the corner.
He's going to take second away from John Hunter Nemechek, but John Hunter Nemechek fighting back. Now he's trying to hang on to that 3rd spot.
Boy, Eric Jones almost gotten to his teammate Bubba Wallace.
Here comes Herman Quiroga fighting for the 3rd position.
Quiroga's been strong all night. Lost some track position early in the race, but he's got it all back now, and he's got a truck he can win with. Look at him run on the inside of John Hunter.
Trying to take that spot away. That's the battle for the 3rd position, just in front of Timothy Peters, who we ride along with.
Quiroga gets down to the inside. He's going to drive it hard down into the corner underneath John Hunter.
A good run for Quiroga. He's going to make it stick on the bottom. Look at that truck go.
Taking away the 3rd spot, but not so fast. Here comes John Hunter Nemechek, and now here comes Timothy Peters to the inside. He'll battle his teammate for position.
Bad angle going down in the corner for Timothy.
But his experience enabled him to keep that truck pinned to the bottom. Kuroga's going to make a run on the outside, though.
Kuroga with the momentum, trying to stay in front as they go past the start-finish line. 24 laps to go. Darrell Wallace Jr. in front of Eric Jones. Teammates running nose to tail. Then John Hunter Nemechek holding on to third. Herman Kuroga behind him. And Timothy Peters running fifth.
How about Chase Pistone, that 9 truck right now, running in the 6th spot.
And
Great run for them.
Johnny Sauter right behind him in a truck that he struggled with all weekend long, but yet he's still battling for a top 5 finish. Man, I'm nervous. This is great racing. 3 wide, are you kidding me?
Johnny Sauter running in the 7th spot. We see him trying to chase down Chase Pistone.
You think I'm nervous? How do you think Kyle Buschfield's sitting up there in Michigan watching his trucks battle for the lead? They got into each other even on that restart, but they were able to maintain control of their trucks. And now Herman Kuroga is all over the back of John Hunter Nemechek, and his teammate Timothy Peters is all over the back of him.
The laps wind down. It heats up on the racetrack, and that's what's happening. We see our top 5, 6, 7 all battling for position.
Remember, the teammates here, Timothy Peters, Herman Kuroga, had issues at Martinsville. Had to be sat down by the owner, Tom DeLoach. And then last time out at Texas, Herman Kuroga blows an engine and it involves Timothy Peters. A little bit of contact.
Here comes Herman Kuroga. He's going to try to move the 8 out of the way.
He slid into John Hunter.
Here comes John Hunter Nemechek once again on the outside. Going into 3 and 4.
Nemechek has proven he knows how to get it done up there.
Here comes Herman Kuroga again. Trying to take that 3rd spot away.
Man, this is tense.
So dicey down there on the bottom where Kuroga's trying to run. That truck gets loose down there.
Back into the gas.
He can really get that thing pointed, though. That's a very strong truck. It might be the fastest truck here. He just is fighting for track position, trying to get that spot away from John Hunter Nemechek.
Still side by side for the 3rd position. John Hunter Nemechek in the 8 on the outside. Herman Kuroga strong coming off of turn number 4.
John Hunter's not going to give it to him.
20 laps to go. It's our Camping World. 20 to go. In front of the field, Darrell Wallace Jr., Eric Jones. They're your top 2. The battle for 3rd continues on the right side of your screen. Herman Kuroga trying to take that spot away.
He just about has him cleared, but John Hunter fights back on the outside.
And Timothy Peters ready to pounce on whatever line he can get by these 2.
A great crowd on hand watching some great racing as these guys battle to try to get the chance to drive up there and catch the 2 Kyle Busch Motorsports trucks of Darrell Wallace Jr. and Eric Jones.
And they have separated themselves from 3rd place John Hunter Nemechek, who's 2.1 seconds behind Darrell Wallace Jr.
Saw Johnny Sauter trying to get underneath Chase Pistone. Johnny had a nose underneath that 9 truck for a moment. Johnny's in that green number 98, the Smoky Mountain Herbal Snuff truck.
He's had it under a couple of times, Phil, and they've made contact, but Chase has been able to keep his truck straight. Johnny's faster, and he keeps making the move, but he can't complete the move.
There's Chase Pistone just in front of Johnny Sauter. They're fighting for the 6th spot. Chase Pistone up the racetrack. Here comes Sauter. Sees an opening, wants to take advantage of it.
It's just too inviting that he leaves that bottom lane open. Johnny has to go there.
Look at those brakes.
Look at the rotors.
Glowing red. That's the left front. You know, the right front's the same. What a strong run down into the turn by Sauter. Is he going to complete that pass?
He's going to try. He's going to try to lean on him a little bit if he has to. Johnny's got it.
And, you know, Johnny sees that battle for 3rd just up ahead of him. He wants to go join that race.
Now that he has cleared Chase Pistone, he's got a lot of track between he and Timothy Peters, who's running in front of him. This continues. Here comes Herman Kuroga one more time. Looking to the inside. Strong run down the backstretch.
I'm telling you, if Herman drives it down in the corner as hard as John Hunter, he may get loose down there.
And this is a great battle. I just can't explain to you how hard it is to do what Herman Kuroga is doing right now. Keeping his truck straight on the inside of John Hunter Nemechek. Thing wants to spin out, but Herman's been able to hang on to her so far.
Oh, and there's a little contact as they come off at turn number 2.
That's what Timothy Peters needed to see. He's going to make it 3 wide and pass both these guys.
Trying to take that spot away. It's the battle for third. Timothy Peters is going to take it away. Here comes the aid of John Hunter Nemechek, though, again.
How tough is this kid?
17-year-old John Hunter Nemechek fighting with these veterans.
Some of the best we have here in the Truck Series.
The laps continue to wind down. 15 to go. Darrell Wallace Jr., Eric Jones running 1 and 2. Teammates fighting for the 4th spot now as they close the gap between themselves and that 8 of John Hunter Nemechek.
Nemechek was really slow off turn 2. It gave Quiroga a chance to run by him. Is there a problem on the 8 truck?
Something's wrong with the 8.
I think the left rear tire.
There he goes. Around goes John Hunter Nemechek.
The left rear tire went down.
That was some of that intense racing between he and Quiroga. I think he finally got it up against him and cut his left rear. Not a lot of damage to that truck.
No, left rear, something's down.
Yeah.
That's all right. That's all right.
I saw the letters
Keep going.
wiped off it a couple laps ago.
Man, I hate to see that. But I'm glad I can catch my breath. That racing was so intense. Such great action here in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series.
John Hunter realized there was a problem. That's why they were able to drive by him.
It's all right. You're doing great.
So that was Dad. Such a great run for John Hunter Nemechek. Here he feels that there's something wrong with that truck.
Yeah, there's definitely something wrong. He's a little bit slow there. He seized up Timothy Peters. Then you can see when you get a look at it, you can see that left rear tire is down, Michael.
Yeah, and around he goes. But very minimal contact, so he can get to pit road and get a tire on that thing. He can still get a top 10 finish.
Yeah. He never swung around and caught it with the front too, and that's a break.
Yes, sir. I feel like I'm racing.
Let's ride along with him.
He just couldn't get any forward drive.
And look at the break that Armand Quiroga caught, because his teammate, Timothy Peters, was right behind Nemechek, and he couldn't get the run off the turn. Johnny Sauter, too, took advantage of the fact that John Hunter Nemechek couldn't get going off turn 2.
John Hunter Nemechek has the 8 down on pit road. They will go to work on that truck to try to get him back as close to the front as they can. Hermie.
Yeah, Rick, a lot of damage obviously to the left rear. They're going to get the left side up first. The left rear tire is flat. Got to get the jack up a little bit higher to make the tire change, assessing the damage. They'll put left side tires on this time around to try to beat the pace car out, stay on the lead lap. And I'm sure they'll be back in to put 4 tires on. The pace car is on the way. He's down and away. He will remain on the lead lap.
He's got to get out in front of the pace car. And very close.
You made it. You made it. You made it. You made it.
Let's see if we can see a rub here. You can see the left rear tire.
See all the letters on it right now, guys.
Right now is fine. And I'm suspecting after this little sideways action.
And no more letters on the left rear tire.
Yep.
That was a scrub. Good work by our camera guys to catch that.
Another look at it right there. You see it get loose on the bottom there. We see it happen so often.
Yep.
There it is right there. What a great shot.
And that's all it takes. That's just tight, close racing. And unfortunately, the 77th truck caught that tire just right on John Hunter. Or just wrong for John Hunter.
Yeah. You know, there was a battle earlier between the 88 and the 8. Let's see if this may have been the cause of the 88's issues. There's some pretty good rub on that right, or the right front.
I don't know. I think his happened so suddenly. He was driving away from everyone when his blew out. I don't think that was the case.
Yeah, I think John Hunter had a slow leak. That's why he felt it coming off turn 2, was slowed. Coming back down pit road, they're going to hold him for a lap. They didn't feel like he beat the pace car to the end of pit road, so they're going to hold him for a lap. Tough break for John Hunter.
He's coming.
I tell you what,
You've had a great night, man. You can't help a tire went down. Everything's fine. You did excellent. Turned a lot of heads.
Exactly. That's what thank you, Jerry Ken. That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah. That kid got a lot of people's attention tonight with the way he drove that truck, battling hard on the outside, proven that he can race fender to fender with these veterans.
Getting a report now that it was a commitment line violation, which is why they brought John Hunter back for a lap penalty.
That was well put. No matter where John Hunter Nemechek ends up finishing tonight, what an incredible race he has run.
We saw everything we needed to see out of that kid. He raced hard, he was respectful, he challenged everybody that he raced around. Leave here proud of how he drove that number 8 truck tonight. His dad, a top 5 finish with that truck last week. These two can contend for wins this year.
How about the 54 of Darrell Wallace Jr. and the night he has had? I think it is definitely a Ram Guts and Glory night.
Had an issue on pit road. They didn't have the jack up high enough. They dropped the jack. Tire wasn't on there. Did a little bit of damage to that left rear quarter panel. Cost them a lot of time. This was a green flag pit stop.
And then 3 wide. For the lead, Darrell Wallace Jr. is able to grab that lead away from John Hunter Nemechek and Eric Jones.
And then just a tight battle with his teammate Eric Jones. Those two made contact, but Bubba was able to run around the outside and grab the lead. And now with inside 10 laps to go, he's going to have the restart of the night in order to grab the win.
And he's been very good. We've watched Darrell Wallace Jr. execute the restarts almost perfectly.
On the inside and the outside.
Inside and outside. Now he's going to have to deal with his teammate. Eric Jones will start either to the inside or outside of him.
I think I'm going to take the outside because we see how loose the trucks get down on the inside. Take the outside, make sure you get a good start, at least have a half a truck length lead over your teammate by the time you get to turn 1.
Both drivers that'll be on the front row looking for their second win. They have both won before. They both won last year. Both Martinsville for Darrell Wallace Jr. and Phoenix for Eric Jones. Just behind them in row number 3 is a guy who's very hungry for a win. Herman Quiroga. Michael, you've mentioned probably one of the fastest trucks all weekend and definitely one of the fastest trucks right now.
And we saw in that last restart, they went 3 wide to grab the lead. So Herman Quiroga, knowing that the 51 and the 54 could race really hard and get sideways, he could be sitting in the right spot, Hermie, to grab the lead away from those 2 Kyle Busch Motorsports trucks on this restart.
Yeah, Michael, he's driving a heck of a race tonight, and he's doing it in part because he is honoring a friend, Carlos Pardo, a friend of his he competed against in the NASCAR Mexico Series, was killed 5 years ago today in a race that Herman also competed in. So he's got a little decal inside of his truck to remember Carlos, and he's trying to take him to victory lane with him for his first career victory.
Yeah, that was such a tough day. Pardo ended up getting the win there. He was leading the race when he was involved in that accident. They gave him the win posthumously.
Herman's best career finish is 3rd a couple times. That's where he runs right now. And Michael, I think you're right. He knows that 3 wide move could work. He's pulled it off. Timothy Peters pulled it off. Darrell Wallace Jr. got that lead with a 3 wide situation with John Hunter Nemechek and his teammate Eric Jones.
We see our leader, Darrell Wallace Jr., has chosen the bottom, so he's going to race down into turn 1, knowing that Eric Jones is going to be hung on the outside of him. If those two make any contact at all, Herman Quiroga could be sitting in the catbird seat.
Hey, don't forget Johnny Sauter. Johnny's on the outside. They may get seized up down on the bottom. May give Johnny a run on the outside.
Darrell Wallace Jr. has been very strong on these restarts, and he's been strong when he's out front. At the beginning of this race, he led the first 62 laps, and no one could challenge him.
How much can Chase Pistone taste a win here? He's like, I'm racing with the best. I'm near the front. I'm almost in the top 5 here late in the going.
It'll be 8 to go. Side by side. Eric Jones on the outside. Your race leader, Darrell Wallace Jr. on the inside. Green flag back in the air.
He needs to clear him if he can by the time he gets to turn 1.
He's not going to clear him. Jones is strong on the high side.
Side by side for the lead as they go through 1 and 2. Teammates fighting for the lead coming out of 2.
Here comes Quiroga, Johnny Sauter right behind him.
Great run down the backstretch. Here comes Herman Quiroga. All over the back bumper of the 54. He gets a little loose as he enters turn number 3. The 51 of Eric Jones has a little advantage coming out of turn 4.
Watch Quiroga.
Trying to block is the 54. Darrell Wallace Jr. 3 wide as they go into turn number 1. Here comes Herman Quiroga. Eric Jones has the lead as they come out of turn number 2. Little bobble for him, and around goes Eric Jones.
Quiroga turned Eric Jones around.
caution comes out. The 51 had bobbled just as he was coming out of turn number 2, and I think Kuroga was still hard on the gas.
Wow, a lot of damage to Eric Jones's truck. I really think Bubba made a mistake restarting from the inside, guys. Wow.
And a wrecked truck for Eric Jones, racing for the lead. What an impressive restart for the 77 of Armand Kuroga. Looked strong while the 2 trucks were battling in front of him. He was looking for the right line.
We've seen such great racing. These guys have been side by side and great battles.
Window net down for Eric Jones. He climbs out of that truck. He'll have to take the mandatory stop at the infield care center.
This young racer had battled his way to the lead late in the going. We talked about how fast the 77 of Kuroga was.
And we're going to take a look at it again, but let's see if that 51 does bobble just a bit and allow the 77 to get up on him.
That was a hard hit Eric Jones had to that inside. Looked like concrete there.
That kid's going to win a lot of races.
Yes, he is.
He drove his truck in Texas sideways all night long, hung on to it, came into St. Louis with winning on his mind, and to put himself in first place late in the going, inside 10 to go.
4 crew members for Eric Jones running down pit road.
I've got a feeling they may be looking for the pit of the 77 Armand Kuroga.
Yeah, the officials trying to slow him down. And I'm sure that that's not over, but for now they head back the other direction. Here again is what happened.
See, way up on top of your screen, that was the contact.
There you go.
It is right here.
Jones on the top of the racetrack. He
does bobble right there, Rick. You're exactly right. That slowed his momentum just enough, and Kuroga was right there.
As you mentioned, a hard hit on that inside wall, but
check this angle out. Jones hard on the gas.
There's the bobble.
And up the track he went, but Kuroga had the option to get out of the gas a little bit there. Obviously, going for the lead, it's a lot different.
And he figures if he gets out of the gas that he's going to lose his momentum. The guys behind him are going to try to make a move on him.
It definitely wasn't intentional on Kuroga's part, I don't believe. I think he just was dead on the gas, and as soon as Eric Jones bobbled, he was into the back of him. Now, once he got in the back of him, he definitely didn't lift, but I don't think he intentionally ran into Jones.
Yeah, the initial contact, I think, was accidental. And then once he got there, he probably did the smart thing once he got into him to spin him on out of the way so it didn't hurt him.
Well, now he's going to have the most important restart of his young career, starting with the lead. He's picked the inside.
He picked the inside line.
I don't know. I really think that's what cost Bubba Wallace the lead, was picking the inside. Now he's got the outside, even if it wasn't his choice.
But I'm telling you, that 77 truck, while he's fought through this field all night long, overcoming, getting a lap down early, he's been so solid. I think it's been the fastest truck most all night long. Maybe he thinks I can hook that bottom and grab the lead off turn 2.
Lights are off on the pace car, meaning when we come out of turn number 4, we will be going back to racing. 3 laps of racing will remain.
Possibly.
Potentially.
What about our man Johnny Sauter? Struggled mightily all throughout practice. Said he leaned on his teammates, talked about their setups, how they could adjust their truck to make it better. Now he's in a position to win the race. Remember where Kuroga started from on the restart prior to this?
That would have been 3rd.
Exactly, and that's where Johnny Sauter sets.
This
How about Ron Hornaday?
Yeah, unbelievable up there in the top 6. Timothy Peters.
Just to make sure he's in the right gear. Looked like he had trouble getting it down in 2nd gear for a moment.
2 by 2. Armand Kuroga on the inside. Darrell Wallace Jr. on the outside. Green flag back in the air. 3 laps to go.
Bubba's right there.
Another great restart for Darrell Wallace Jr. This time on the high side. Can he make it stick?
Quiroga was getting loose down there on the bottom.
Look at Johnny Sauter peeking to the inside.
They make contact as they go down the backstretch. Now Armand Quiroga checks up as the 54 has the advantage.
Look at Timothy Peters around the outside of Johnny Sauter. He's going to grab third and go after these two leaders.
This time by 2 laps to go. Darrell Wallace Jr. in front of Armand Quiroga, Timothy Peters, and Ron Hornaday.
Remember, we've seen guys make contact on the last couple of laps here, sent us to overtime several times here in St. Louis.
We have a couple side-by-side battles up in the top 10. Cole Custer, the double zeros on the inside of Hornaday.
And Quiroga closed in on our leader, Darrell Wallace, off turn 2.
This time by, they're going to see the white flag one more time around. Darrell Wallace Jr. looking for his second win. Armand Quiroga still looking for the first win.
Looks like Joey Coulter got bounced off the wall coming off of 4.
Going into turn number 1, the gap is 3 truck lengths. Now here comes Quiroga, closing that gap up as they go down the backstretch.
What a strong run off turn 2 Quiroga had. Hooked that bottom perfectly. He's going to get to the back of Darrell Wallace.
It's going to be close as they come through 3 and 4. Armand Quiroga, Darrell Wallace Jr. coming out of turn number 4. Will he have enough room? Darrell Wallace Jr. is going to hold him off. Darrell Wallace Jr. wins again in the Truck Series. What a hard-fought battle for Darrell Wallace Jr. getting his second win in the Camping World Truck Series.
How about the way this young man's won his 2 races? A heck of a battle at Martinsville to grab the win on the short track, and now survives a restart and a great run at the end to get another victory.
He got put up to the outside on that restart, and I think that's where he needed to be.
We have our 3rd different winner in the 2014 season.
There we go.
But we have a similar manufacturer that's going to go back to victory lane. Toyota has been dominant in 2014.
All 7 races.
And a truck owner who gets another win,
Exactly.
Kyle Busch Motorsports.
That is the 9th straight win for Toyota, which is a record in the Camping World Truck Series.
Going back to last year, and as you mentioned earlier, those 2 wins last year, KTM.
Yeah, the 51 truck.
Look at the crowd coming down to congratulate and cheer on Darrell Wallace Jr. as he wins here at Gateway.
And he pulls the front of that truck right up against the inside wall. He may make a little more smoke before this is all done.
What an outstanding drive by Bubba Wallace. He was able to overcome some issues on pit road. Just drove the wheels off that thing.
That's a great point, Phil. Could have gotten frustrated. That team could have given up after they had the problems on pit road, but that's weren't what they were all about tonight. They were all about getting to victory lane, and Bubba Wallace drove them there.
Love the emotion out of that driver as well. When he was able to take the checkered flag, you heard him screaming in the truck. They've done it again. Darrell Wallace Jr. became the first African-American since Wendell Scott had won. And now, once again, back to victory lane. Let's sneak out to the LA studios of Jay and Dan at Fox Sports Live.
Throw that away. Thank you. These races make me tired.
Thank you. A lot of action taking place around the sports world, and we had a lot of action right here at Gateway Motorsports Park. And Darrell Wallace Jr. is going to make his way to the victory lane.
There's liable to be some more action, too, if Eric Jones's crew ever makes their way over to Armand Quiroga. Jones got a little bit sideways. Quiroga into the back of Jones and turned him around, coming off turn 2, and emotions were flying down on pit road.
Kind of fitting that the same team will go to victory lane with Bubba Wallace, Kyle Busch Motorsports, same team that Eric Jones drove for in Right now we have Ray Dunlap with Eric Jones.
Yeah, he has come out of the infield care center, Phil. And number one, are you okay? And number two, your viewpoint on what happened at the racetrack.
Yeah, I'm fine. I guess we just got dumped again. It seems like he can't get away from it this year. Fast truck. Felt like we were well in hand of the race at this point. You know, I got a little free, but yeah, I mean, right in the left rear just turned us around. So I don't know what to do about that. You know, we had a great Toyota Care Tundra. Really just, I don't know. I felt like we had the race. I felt like it was our race. We had a great truck, and felt like we should have been there in victory lane.
The great news is he's okay. The bad news is his truck's really torn up, and the other good news is his teammates in victory lane.
Well, that was certainly avoidable. I think Quiroga made a run up to him when he got sideways and just decided he had a decision. He could back off and try to avoid contact or just take him out, and he elected to keep the gas on the floorboard.
And so Iman Quiroga will come home with a second place finish today. And Darrell Wallace Jr. is about to celebrate once again in victory lane. Let's go to Hermie.
Well, Bubba Wallace makes his way to victory lane, gets a Coca-Cola, gets a swig, and he hops out. Well, Bubba, win number 2, and you absolutely had to earn that one. Tell us what your thoughts on that last restart.
Oh, man. It was wild. Such a bummer for Eric, man. I thought it was out of our hands there into that caution with him, but, man, me and him were so fast. Kyle was not in the race, but he dominated all race pretty much. So, huge shout out to Toyota Care. This Made in America Toyota Tundra was on a roll tonight. We got in a little trouble the first pit stop, but a little adversity never hurts anybody, and we come through. And if this doesn't make one guy get a Toyota Tundra, I don't know what does. But, man, so proud of my guys right here. They worked their tails off. I was iffy about this track going in. You know, 3 and 4 is fun. 1 and 2 gave me a problem all night long. And this guy right here, his staff did a great job this weekend. And it's just a lot of fun. So big thanks to Toyota Care, Coca-Cola, Alpine Stars, everybody involved.
And you guys have had some adversity this year, but you've kept your head up, you've been fast, and finally it pays off. I know you wish your mom was here tonight, Jerry Baxter, in victory lane, but your emotions you've got to be having after the season that you've had so far.
Oh, for sure. This has been such a rough season for us, and that's just how racing goes. And if it wasn't for bad luck, we wouldn't have any in at all. But yeah, I definitely wish my mom was here. But I got the Pops here. Come on in here, Pops, for Father's Day. So here's a Father's Day present for him. This has been a great week so far. My girlfriend Shelby comes home Friday, so this is going to be a good week for sure.
That's Bubba Wallace. He's in victory lane.
Well, Hermie, let's listen and get a chance to talk here to our second place runner tonight, Herman Quiroga, with a career best run tonight. A lot of action out there on the racetrack. Tell us about your viewpoint of the contact between you and the 51.
Well, first of all, this race was dedicated for Carlos Pardo, which we lost 5 years ago. And I mean, it was really close. That 10 Tundra was really fast this weekend, and I knew we had a shot from him. And I mean, he started getting loose. He drove in really deep into one. He started getting loose, and he was slowing like a lot on the exit, and I just, like, to be honest, kept on going and tried to move a little bit to the left and give him enough room, but he was already sideways, and couldn't tell if somebody was pushing me or not, and I just kept on driving straight, trying not to hit him. But it is unfortunate because it's a Toyota truck. It's good for Red Horse. We got second and third, and we're coming back in the points, so I'm pretty happy about that.
All right, career night tonight for the driver of Truck 77.
Yeah, pretty impressive runs for Darrell Wallace Jr., Eric Jones, John Hunter Nemechek, a lot of young drivers that we expected the youth to make some kind of a movement here, but really impressive ultimately for Darrell Wallace Jr. to get this second win.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, he had to drive that thing hard. He dominated the early portion of the race. He rebounded from that problem they had on pit road, and at the end of the race, he had to fight off his teammate, Quiroga, a lot of guys there that he had to do some great driving to try to get in front of those guys, and he was able to do it. I think he picked the wrong line for the restart, 2 restarts before the end, and then he was forced to the outside, which I think ultimately won him the race on that last restart.
You know, you talk about the youth movement. The darned old 20-year-old won it. So much for those 16-year-old kids, right? You got to be a veteran if you want to win in NASCAR. But what a fun night. Look at our point standings. Darrell Wallace Jr. was mired back in 14th place in the points coming in here. He climbs his way all the way up, or excuse me, he was back in 11th coming in here, climbs his way all the way up to the 9th spot. So he's on a roll. Johnny Sauter, another great run for that team. He's done well this year as well, and he's going to be a factor all year long.
Another guy moving up in the point standings is Timothy Peters. He's with Herman.
Well, he's up to 4th, and